Welcome back to This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald, and today we delve into a maritime tragedy that played a pivotal role in the turbulent Jacobite period, the wreck of HMS Dartmouth on October 9th, 1690, in the Sound of Mull. The Dartmouth was a 5th-rate Royal Navy frigate launched in 1655, built for speed and maneuverability. She measured 80 feet in length with a beam of 25 feet and a tonnage of 266. Initially equipped with 22 guns, this number was later increased to 36. Over the course of her service, Dartmouth had proven herself a formidable vessel in the English Navy, patrolling waters worldwide. After a major refit in 1678, including the installation of a new keel, she continued her successful career. But in 1690, the political landscape of Britain and Scotland was undergoing dramatic change. King William III and Queen Mary II had ascended to the throne, but their rule faced fierce resistance, especially in Scotland, where many still pledged allegiance to the Jacobite cause and the exiled King James VII. HMS Dartmouth, commanded by Captain Edward Pottinger, found itself at the centre of these power struggles. Based in Greenock from March 1690, the ship was tasked with asserting royal authority along the Scottish coastline. By October, Dartmouth had been ordered on a mission to the Isle of Mull, one of the Hebrides Islands and a stronghold of the Jacobite cause. The ship was specifically sent to force the powerful Maclean clan of Duart to sign articles of allegiance to William and Mary. The Macleans, led by Sir John Maclean, chief of Clan Maclean, were staunch Jacobites and had refused to submit to the new monarchs. The mission was of vital importance for the crown, as the Macleans wielded significant influence in the Highlands. Accompanied by two smaller vessels, the Dartmouth sailed down the Sound of Mull in early October. However, as they approached their destination, the weather turned against them. A violent storm swept through the narrow, treacherous waters, forcing the ships to seek shelter in Scalastal Bay, a natural anchorage still used by vessels to this day. For 3 days, Dartmouth and her companions rode out the storm, anchored and awaiting a break in the weather. But on the evening of October the 9th, the storm worsened and disaster struck. The anchor cable snapped, leaving the Dartmouth helpless against the ferocious winds and surging waves. Records from the time are sparse, but local folklore and later archaeological evidence suggest that the ship was battered by the elements, nearly capsizing multiple times as she was driven across the Sound. Ultimately, the Dartmouth was blown ashore at Eilean, Ruba and Redaira, a small rocky promontory near the Isle of Mull. The ship's stern struck the rocks first, and her hull began to break apart almost immediately. Eyewitnesses later reported that the ship's back broke, causing her bow and stern to sink separately in the rough waters. Of the estimated 130 men aboard, only 6 survived. The exact number of casualties remains uncertain, but it is believed that Captain Pottinger perished with the majority of his crew. The wreck of HMS Dartmouth lay undisturbed for centuries, lost to history until it was discovered by a group of divers in 1973. Among the artefacts recovered from the site was the ship's bell, which bore the inscription DH 1678, confirming the vessel's identity. This bell, along with other significant finds including portions of the hull and 19 iron cannons, are now preserved in the National Museum of Antiquities of Scotland in Edinburgh. The wreck site itself is in shallow water, only 3 to 6 metres deep, and is still a popular diving spot, though much of it has been overgrown by kelp. In addition to her physical remains, HMS Dartmouth left behind a legacy intertwined with the political upheavals of the late 17th century. Her mission to Mull was part of the broader effort to bring the Highlands under the control of William III. and her loss symbolised the fierce resistance the new monarchs faced from loyal Jacobite clans. Though her wreck did not ultimately shift the balance of power, it remains a poignant reminder of the human cost of those tumultuous times. So, as we reflect on the tragedy of October the 9th, 1690, we remember the men who lost their lives aboard HMS Dartmouth and the ship's role in one of Scotland's most volatile historical periods. Thank you for tuning in to This Day in Scottish History. I'm Colin MacDonald, and I hope you join us again as we continue exploring the stories that shaped Scotland's past. Haste ye back.